Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you might be in the world. The world has gone mad on so many levels and so many vectors. Whilst we wait for Hound Life to join us because he's got audio problems, so we'll wait. We'll talk about a couple of things first. Again,
is there any chance you can bring up just the live stream of what's going on in the US just for these very seconds? It's the FBI speaking. And they are seriously.
Oh, that lies. Oh, hang on, not that one. You want this one.
Yeah, see what it's saying, because a few minutes ago, they're talking about
the fact that we don't know what's flying in our airspace is only the tip of the iceberg. What's to come? We have to fix this, and I want to partner up to fix this. Part of that is finding out the proper resources you need.
I didn't hear any.
You need a brain.
Did you hear any what he was saying?
Yes,
training, authorities. I get the authorities piece, but it's a cradle to grave type of situation. It cannot just be, the answer can't be we don't know. And the answer can't be zero. I mean, we got to do better than that. And if we don't, I suspect not good things will happen. So thank you, gentlemen, for coming before us and testifying. I look forward to partnering with all your agencies.
All the water, they're not having the water, but they've all opened their coat.
Someone from New York,
Mr. It's sponsored by Coke.
Thank you, Chairman. And I sort of feel the same way as my good friend, Mr. Gonzalez. This is like deja vu. We've been talking
all over
about
again.
This for...
Yeah, I'm going to stop him. I'm going to stop him.
Yeah, I mean, I know how Life have been watching this and actually had to turn it off because I couldn't take any more of it. I've been watching it and it's like, oh dear God, there's actually less.
This is the world's leading superpower here.
Yeah, well, it's quite extraordinary, but there's many things about it. Now we're talking about a UFO threat and all this. Well, what about this sort of a threat?
I bet one of the UFO accounts has already posted that.
I like that effect.
Unfortunately. But it was really interesting, Gary, because there was one of the senator guys was going, I once saw a drone from my garden. It must have been spying on me. I just regret that I didn't shoot it down.
Yeah, it's quite. So, Hound Life, have you joined us yet? Are you still got a hearing problem? Yeah, no, I think he's still got a hearing problem. Sorry, man.
Aliens. Aliens.
Aliens have got him. Aliens have got him.
What are we looking at here, Gary? What is this?
I was going to say trying on the browser.
Sorry, say again.
Is this a jellyfish or something?
No, it's just Stephen actually sent it on to me, but it's a pyrotechnic display from balloons, from a light show. But I mean, just look at the inherent danger of this. I don't know, Stephen. Do you want to pick up on this, or do you want to let the others run?
I mean, it's from China, so there's probably zero buffer zone here. So it probably is a massive risk to the ground. But let's not get into the Chinese way of doing things. I'm sure we'll get into that later. But this just shows how impressive that they can do things and they can show. And I'm not sure if this was taking the mickey about what's happening in the West right now. I just seen this as a bit of a rug pull in a sense, but I thought this was, I just thought this was a really good way to play with people and to just show people what you can do with lights. And of course, pyro is becoming very popular now within the drone light show. Because all this about, let's say, if you want to say replacing fireworks, and that's never going to happen, but they're now starting to work together, and these pyro drones are actually becoming a big part of the experience, and that just shows you a really good example.
1 second, Stephen. I think it will happen in some places because it's literally being mandated.
Yeah, it will happen in some places, but it will be still very small compared to the bigger picture. It will still be really small.
Yeah, now look out, Chris Crockford's in the room. We'll all be in trouble now. can't hang out with me. Oh, hello, Dan. Dan's, oh, look, they're all coming in from LinkedIn now. So, well, again, whilst we wait for our chum from New Jersey to join us again, let's go with this one. And we've all seen this one.
像无人机遇到了反制，现在就有些问题，我们
是不是公安的干扰信号把它关掉？哦，全部打下来了。
No,
那边公安的把干扰机关掉，要不所有的无人机都被打下来了。刚才的还有上面还有别人的吗？不是公安的。
Is this an e-hang
不知道
video?
谁的啊？那要
What?
自己的。
So what you just witnessed there was
who's this bloke?
from the
Who's this
sky in
bloke?
China during an
Let's stop
event
him.
which
Who's
was a
this? We'll
planned
stop him doing this. Obviously, you can watch Stephen's full explanation, his version of it. But let's have it live from yourself, Steve.
Yeah, so you know, this. I mean, I had this sent to me by about 100 people over the past 3 or 4 days, and I was looking at the video, and I should have made a video about this, you know, a few days ago, but I kind of sat on it. I wasn't really sure what had happened, and of course, the first thing that we think about is that it was jamming. Of course, that's usually the first thing you want to think, and of course, there was also another option that maybe that there was a kill all, that maybe there was an issue and they actually just dropped all the drones. But then I found another video this morning, and it was the one that's kind of showing here from the beginning, and you can see the trees basically moving, you know, side to side, and there's very heavy winds there, and of course, if the winds are as strong as they are looking at ground level, then at 120 meters, 150 meters up, it's going to be a lot more heavier. So those drones have been working very hard up there, and they probably have a lifespan of about 10 to 15 minutes. And when they're up there and they're information, and they're fighting to stay information, so they're using up a lot of energy, and the amount of energy that they've been using has probably actually depleted the battery so much that either they fall out the sky because they've lost all their power, and or the wind is taking them away. And when they take them away, it knocks onto other drones, and then you have this domino effect where lots of drones will fall out of the sky. And that's just, and I'm 99.9% sure that that's what happened if it wasn't jamming.
Oh, there's some air traffic on the top of that now. Yeah, it's quite extraordinary, isn't it? Who's got the radio on? Is that you, Hound Life?
Oh, can you hear that?
Yeah, yeah, no worries. That's fine. That's all good. You're listening to Newark or something.
Can you mute the scanner? Sorry.
That's no glad. I'm glad you joined us now. Welcome. So you're live from the heart of the drone invasion of
a little
somewhere
bit
in America.
outside of it, but pretty close.
It seems,
I'm in the Poconos.
Okay, that's
so I'm like 30 miles from where it's all happening.
That's in the heart of it, basically. That's not that far, is it? Really?
I mean, I haven't seen anything here, and we've lived in the darkness for 18 years out here, and we know we're
where's
right
the
in the flight
Poconos?
path. So if you go up on that, okay. So do you see where it says Mount Pocono?
No, I don't, mate.
Banger. Right there. Like right where your mouse is, if you come down to the right a little bit. So come down. Okay. Let me see where you are. Okay, that's northern Jersey. Okay, stop there. So you see that little triangle on the left where the green stops on the map?
Left. Triangle on the
keep
left
going,
with the greens.
Keep going.
I'm
going. Keep going. Now stop
Washington.
there and now go. Oh wait, is that? Now go up like
Stroudsburg.
Oh, right where that green plate is. Yep.
That green one.
Right there. Yep.
Okay, near Pine Mountain, Saw Creek. All right, so we'll keep a good eye on the skies here then, whilst you're talking.
I mean, we
but
see
obviously
these every night, and we can see them coming in 30 miles west of us, northwest, and they look like they just hang there. But after a while, you get to know what they are.
Yeah.
So with some of these planes, I could see people getting a little bit freaked out about, especially, there's a 5,000 foot separation between the private jets coming in and then the bigger jets coming into Newark or, wherever. But yeah, it's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane.
But where is most of... Go on, Ian, after you.
I was just going to say, Gary, Alan's been looking at a number of the sightings as they've been ongoing, and when people said, this is where I am, this is the time, he's been checking them on ADSB and naturally finding out that, they were aircraft at the time, either, an airliner or a helicopter or whatever it may be. But as you can see here, there is plenty of air traffic that goes over at night, and you've simply got people that aren't used to having to go outside, look up at the sky, and determine what's going on. And then to make it worse, they've got the camera phone, the thing that gets the cruddiest images that you could get at night, and you're mixing the two together, and you're getting so much noise.
It's quite extraordinary, though, isn't it? And as the House Committee is talking about it right now. And it's a BS acceleration program par excellence.
But it's
it
all been
really
driven by
is.
the media. The media are to blame, because I saw a media report where the media said we used our phones to get these pictures, even though they got the broadcast quality cameras there. They probably looked with the broadcast camera and saw, oh, that's an airline. We better use our phone so you can't tell what it is. Got to preserve the narrative, because they're making a fortune out of all these videos and stuff they're putting up there. And this time of the year, clicking on those, YouTube ads are at their most profitable. So they're just stringing people along, and it's no one does the research, no investigation.
I do agree. It's no one seems to, even in a world where people have got good cameras. There's really good cameras out there. And Bruce, I think you're right that they have, the broadcast quality cameras. But nobody seems to be able to get a really kind of sharp picture. They all seem to be blurry and hazy, and you get the atmosphere and whatnot. And it's just always the same. It's we don't know what it is, but all we have to show is a really crappy picture. So. But
worse though, it's a crappy picture with a red light, a green light, and a strobe, and you're going, it's an aircraft. It's an aircraft. Why?
The FAA will come out.
What you should do first is get some evidence above and beyond that, and then you can say, yes, this is strange but there's reporters that are going on just as we Gatwick, seeing people posting videos, and all down the video is people saying that's an aircraft, sometimes naming the aircraft, sometimes putting in the ADSB. And the reporter is still asking for the video to run on the news without mentioning the fact that they know already that is an aircraft.
Because there's nothing else to report. That's why.
No. And that's why the FAA isn't.
Father Christmas is coming. There's plenty to report.
Yeah, but not yet. But, soon. This is just a stocking filler. This is a stocking filler.
Yes.
Yeah. In January, when all the ad revenues drop, then the truth will be revealed.
Yeah. Well, that's what it's about, isn't it? It's about clickbait. It's about sensationalization, and they're just clickbait hunting. I don't want to sound horrible, and I'm going to be mean, and I don't want to be, but I'm going to be. The glass of water I left on the side earlier, that could identify a plane better than this lot that are going UAPs. This thing in the sky. Oh, it's got blurry lights, bad video. My glass of water on the side would know that's a manned aircraft. Okay, it would know that.
But we've got the world's best politicians on the job, Americans' best politicians in the federal agencies. Are you telling me that the biggest superpower in the world has been flummoxed by the fact that no one's ever looked up at night and seen an airplane?
Yes.
Well, that's exactly what's happening, and then it's made worse. There was a couple of police officers that, rather than just thinking, we need to calm this down, we have people that are talking about shooting guns at these drones that are helicopters and aircraft. Instead of calming it down, they go to a news crew, I think it's NBC, and they're literally flying them a treat about and going how cool and awesome they are. And then they're taking cruddy video of a light in the distance and saying, oh, we've got the drone. You're going, no, you've got another manned aircraft. You, as drone officers, should be considerably more, not just expert, but responsible. I jumped in on the X thing on that, and I took the piss out of them because, frankly, they deserved it, because you're thinking at least, check, because they said, oh, well, we check flight radar, but not every craft has a transponder. It's not 100% view. It's just a view to help you discount certain things and inform your opinion. But you don't go off that alone. But they hadn't said, oh, well, we used counter UAS and we got a thermal scope and we did. There was none of that. It was already, they'd just been as irresponsible as everybody else. And but because they're police officers now and they've got a badge on, that's given extra credence and just takes things up a step again, where the FBI is now saying it's got people sat going through all these videos of aircraft after aircraft after aircraft after aircraft, because it's now said, oh, well, they must be legit because a few police officers seen them. No.
I saw one.
It doesn't reinforce it for a second.
But they still have to, get rid of that budget before the end of the year. So they have to justify the budget for next year. So,
well, funny enough, that's exactly what they were doing. But that's what they were doing in that hearing. They were saying we just haven't got enough money. They were banging up their budgets for next year as fast as they possibly could. And Ian's put Gatwick 3. This is going to have a Gatwick style effect on the sales of counter UAS equipment and the demonization of the normal drone trade and encouraging people to shoot, a congressman encouraging people to shoot at the UFO stroke drones. What am I talking about? I know what I'm thinking about, and I shouldn't be thinking about it. Is there's going to be a they're going to get a helicopter. They're going to shoot down a helicopter.
I think the words from Independence Day: "Do not shoot at the UFO. You could start an interstellar war."
There you go. Oh yeah.
But I think this makes life easier for them to make certain decisions. I know that going into another story in a sense, or just segueing a little bit, but they have a year now to decide, or if they can make any decisions. So I think that this in a way gives extra support for them to make certain decisions, and it and of course when you're right, Gary, it's going to have an effect, but it's going to help them make certain decisions and justify it.
Yeah. Well, that's
no one's following our rules. We need more rules.
Well, here's the thing. That could happen, and this is the worst thing that could happen, is they shoot down an air ambulance that's on its way somewhere in an emergency. If they do that, and they turn around, so the police told me to shoot at lights, could you imagine the uproar? But if you shoot at a police helicopter, for example, and they ID you shooting at them, one thing is going to happen. You're going to end up in a box. Because they won't.
It wasn't a.
The media.
It wasn't a copper that said that. It was a senator said that. It wasn't the media. It was a senator, and that's
Well, I've come to the conclusion that American senators have got less IQ than my glass of water.
I was just going to say, doesn't that make more sense that a senator said it?
Yeah. Unfortunately, if these things are a long way away, they'll never hit him with a handgun, so it's unlikely to happen. They could kill a neighbor though.
I really feel like something is going to get shot. I said this to my girlfriend last week. Now, I live in Pennsylvania, and everybody has 20 guns. Where I live, there's a medevac station about 3 miles away, and at any time of the day, they'll come flying by at 800 feet. And from what I've been reading on Twitter, there are a lot of really pissed off people that are saying, oh, the government isn't doing anything, or the mayors aren't doing anything. And I mean, why the fuck would you write, let's just start going out armed? I mean, I've read that several times. It's just it's crazy. It's so crazy.
Well,
And
that's
now
it's the million monkeys getting them on typewriters, and they'll write the works of Shakespeare. If you have enough handguns pointing at a helicopter in a small area, there's a good chance one of them will hit them.
someone's gonna get one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Someone even said on Twitter that which makes no sense to me, a 12-gauge slug should be able to take one of them down. And I'm thinking,
well, Edward Sarkassian's got an
it's got to
RPG.
come down to the bullet or the slug.
Yeah, well,
No.
exactly, and that's unfortunately you can't just be firing off in any direction in the neighborhood. You might not hit the thing, but you might hit something else.
I only got interested in this. Like, I've seen it a little bit, but last week my brother texted me, and he lived about 40 miles, like where all this is going on. About 40 miles southeast of me. And he swore that he saw two of them. And I'm texting with him, and he's like, I don't understand. There's one northwest and there's one southeast, but the northwest one looks like it's bigger. So I first said, well, bring up ADSB and see if there's anything there. And he said, there's nothing flying close. And I said, have you gone and looked at like a star tracker? And that's when Venus was up, right on the horizon. And because it was so windy and the trees were blowing, it looked like it was moving.
Yeah.
And then the south one was Jupiter or something.
That's right. They are quite close at the moment.
I had this very, very same kind of story when we were doing drone light shows, and I had someone who was a visual observer, and because they were looking at, and of course I'm saying the same story, but this is just for yourself, is that they had their phone and they were looking at the phone, and the white light from the phone was damaging their eyes. Of course, they don't know that, and then they were looking up, and the guy gets on the radio and says, "There's a drone flying in the area. It shouldn't be there." And I'm saying, "Where is it?" He says, "It's just to the right of the moon up there." And I said, that's a star. He's like, no, it's a drone. It's a drone. It's like, no, that's a star. And then once his eyes settled, because it takes about 5-10 minutes, and he's going, oh yeah, but yeah, it's moving. And I'm going, yeah, because again, the same thing, you know, there was lots of trees around and stuff, you know, and it really plays with your eyes. It plays with your mind, you know. You know, this whole thing with your eyes at nighttime, and how, you know, of course, everyone's looking at the phone because they have, you know, because they want to take pictures. So the first thing that comes up is the main screen. You know, they don't see properly, and you never will see properly, and your eyes will see things that are not there, and you know, and this will continue, and it's more because these phones are so damn bright. You know, the nits you know, the screens are so good, but it damages our eyes, and our night vision becomes even more worse. You know, and what we're getting now as a result of what you're talking about with your brother, you know, yeah.
But it's going to launch after you.
Oh no, go ahead. I was agreeing.
Well, it's going to launch another 1,000 counter UAS companies. We're going to have in the next month. We're going to have. This is the go bang it out the sky drone Z400. This is the, I don't know, shooty down ray gun. It's gonna go nuts with it all in the new year, and it gives them an excuse. Go on, mate.
So I'm just wondering how long it is going to be before there's a. Although there is actually one journalist that gets it. He's, I think, New York Times. But he just seems to be commenting on Twitter. I'm not seeing it make an impact much further on. But I'm just wondering how long it is before there'll be somebody in authority or a journalist that will finally say, look, there's this hysteria here and someone needs to get a grip, because until they do, this is just going to continue and it's just going to get bigger and bigger. And the press this time, they are going to have blood on their hands if someone does shoot something down. And people have already started doing this, but I do add to this to everyone, especially if you're in America. Use archive.is, for example. Take a capture of the page with the journalist putting up, because I tell you now,
is that archive.io?
Yes. So that one, yes.
Okay.
Whichever one it is, but one of the archive sites, because the first thing they will do is they would be deleting their tweets and going, I never said that, I never made up this hysteria, and they did, and make sure that yeah, history doesn't forget if it does come to that, because it's just, you've actually got now community notes being used. So the people have got them there, even with a community note underneath saying, this is this aircraft. I mean, one of them was ID'd, it was a Leonardo helicopter. And the brilliant thing was there was footage of one landing at London Docklands. And then, if it wasn't for the fact I have been so busy on doing a comedy video,
for other things. That's why I mentioned the judge earlier.
I would have actually gone and got the video myself and superimposed it, and I might still do that. But I thought it would be good to have the original video of the person saying, because so many people posted it as well, saying this is the drone, and then suddenly it morphs into that footage, and you see that it's a helicopter. People will start getting it, because when we put it side by side, people are still arguing it about. It's just like, no. If you actually saw it and you understood that if you had a telephoto lens at that moment and you saw it and you waited and it was coming towards you, you would click sooner or later that that was a helicopter. But it's just one of the many examples. There was another one which was, oh my God, it's like an X. It's hovering in the air. It's not got the lights on, and it was a cable marker. And someone had posted, and I've reposted it since, but they went on Google Maps, found the exact location, put it at daytime, and actually showed you. And I still don't think the person even took the post down, even when it was actually proven to them that if it was just, they just waited at daytime and looked in the same position, they would see what they were filming. But that's it. I mean, some people are just keeping up there because they want the clicks. That's all it's about. And they don't care with the fact that they're spreading misinformation. And you've got some people that are just genuinely, they just want to believe, and they will just get it all. They'll post, and they'll even make out they've seen it. Because I've even asked people, because sometimes I've tagged down, like I feel very bad for it afterwards, because they've made out to me like it's their video, and the moment they're quizzed about it, it turns out no, they've just robbed that off somebody else's account, and they are posting it as though it's their video. So they haven't got a clue when it was taken.
There's somebody.
After you.
Oh, there's somebody on Twitter that is literally just stealing posts off of Reddit and posting them as their own. It like 2 or 3 times a day.
Wow.
And then you go and ask, give me time, date, location, and let me go look. And nobody replies because they don't know, because they just took it from somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, I've had people that I'm just politely saying, look, this has happened before. We've seen it in the UK. Just be aware that a lot of this stuff is
because they're everywhere.
And they're going, no, it's not. And they are arguing post after post after post. And then, we try and say, look, put the video, give the date, give the time, and then it's just abuse because they can't.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really disappointing because people are reaching out to sincerely and genuinely help and explain what's happened in the past and explain how you can check it yourself if you want to. Like our life, for example, is one of them. They'll do the work for you, so you don't even have to do the work of looking it up and checking it. He'll take that burden off you, but people still will just say, "No, I'm not interested," and they just want to. They'll only consider that one option, and unfortunately, as long as that's happening, this will continue.
I think the interesting thing with this is because there was drone hysteria in the 50s, drone hysteria in the 60s and the 70s. Every decade's had it, but drone or UFO, whatever, some lights in the sky. So I shouldn't have there's lights in the sky hysteria. And with these modern era ones, it would be interesting to see just how quickly this hysteria spreads compared to the one in the 50s.
Social media,
You can imagine. Yeah, you can imagine it was on the radio in the 50s, then it was in the newspaper, and you could probably equate the number of sightings against elapsed time. Whereas now in the social media area, it's like, oh, no. And also FOMO for people. Oh, best I spot one as well then. I don't want to be not seeing these UFOs. It's me as well. So you can imagine it must boil up much, much, much faster now. And now, to me, that would be probably the most interesting thing to track out.
I mean, you are seeing it actually spread from region to region in the US. Just as we noted, actually, that Gatwick, after a few days, it was spreading on. So that's why Surrey police had started logging them. So I think you will see this spread because people think, I mean, you know, my neighbour over there or my relative, they're saying, so then they start looking at the sky and they're going, I can see the same thing. And when you've got the media putting stuff that actually is aircraft, you're immediately going, well, that looks exactly the same as what NBC is showing there. Well, it must be the same thing. So you actually...
But you'll get the people, too, that say, now I'm reading, they're disguising them to look like aircraft.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, well,
and that's exactly what they do.
They do. And or they have full cloaking and you can't see them at all.
Yeah, for the benefit of viewers, because I've never heard this, and honestly, I went, Jesus Christ, when I saw this. But some of these people are posting aircraft, and when the moment they are caught doing it, and it's saying community noted, comments or whatever, they went, you don't understand. These UFOs are coming down, and then they're morphing like a transformer into an aircraft to stealth.
I've seen the movie.
And
they
then
stand up and run and everything. They turn into cars. I've seen it. I've seen it at the cinema. It must be real. Yeah.
But how will this all be resolved in the end? But what's going to happen after when this can't go on forever? At some stage, they'll either have to say they remain unexplained, and it's just we don't know what it was, but it's stopped now. Or will everyone have to admit to egg on face and oh my goodness, we're a bunch of silly people and our politicians are dimmer than a light bulb with no power because we mistook these aircraft for drones?
I don't think politicians can go back on that. It's not an issue. Like there's so many people that believe this is real. You're not going to get votes if you go, oh, by the way, they were all airplanes. So everybody that posted videos, you're kind of an idiot. You can't go back on that. It's got to be something. I mean, I really feel like now this has gotten like way out of control. And I feel like this is going to be more legislation for drones.
Yeah.
I mean, here, I'm going to post something in chat.
I'm just going to say
aliens
hijacked my account and posted the videos.
It's just crazy.
Oh, well, do you want to read that out, Alan, for the rest of the...
I'm going to put it on the main one. Here we are.
Oh, okay.
Hold on. Go and share it.
Here's the thing, right? I think we've all missed a trick, though, as well, amongst us. So we should do a video, and it should be War of the Worlds intro.
But the FAA have already put flight restrictions in the area, haven't they, for drones?
Yeah,
they have.
So why?
That's absolutely
only a couple places.
That's mental. Yeah, but that's mental. Yeah. How can you put NOTAMs in force for what?
Yeah. These drones are not following the rules, so we're going to ban them.
They're not drones. It's the things that aren't even there. It's classic. It's brilliant.
I don't know. And the thing that stinks is I'm going to Jersey tomorrow, like right where this is all happening, and it's going to rain. I was going to bring my drone, all my camera stuff. I want to see if there's something weird. I doubt it. I mean, there's one video I saw on Twitter actually like an hour ago that was actually a drone. It looked like an FPV with a super bright light, and it was just like whizzing back and forth. That's the only one I've seen.
I've seen that. I did actually wonder, though, that could potentially be a Matrice. I was just wondering if the police were up at the time and having a bit.
That's with like the super bright light, right?
Yeah, because they have a big spotlight on you, say, or you can get it as an attachment for payload.
It looked like I was trying to screw around the other night and see what I can get it to make it look like. Yeah. Oh, I like the blue. I like the blue instead of the green lights. Actually,
that's my police drone.
It's absolutely bewildering, isn't it, really, at the end of the day? And you're right. You're spot on right. Legislation and all sorts of things are going to happen because of nothing. Exactly like Gatwick.
On steroids.
Yeah, except it has gone much bigger than Gatwick.
Yeah.
It really has. And, as Stephen alluded to two correct things earlier. The first thing is the thing that will make this one go away is Christmas. Christmas will make this go away because everyone
they'll be shooting down Santa.
Well, exactly. That's what they've. My word, you're precisely right. They're going to rise up against Santa.
Can someone create the meme of a? This will sound horrible. Of a reindeer laid out with obviously been shot and Santa Claus has crashed in the tree.
Oh, it's happened before. That meme's already there. It's already there. That's already been published a few years ago. That already exists. That one, and I can't remember. Oh, it was the Gatwick Christmas. There was an image for the Gatwick Christmas for that. There was at the time. Now I wanted to jump on to what I wanted to jump onto while we're here was the thing this is aiding and abetting. Did I shut it all down? Maybe I shut it all down. US law, where is that? Well, we can go with this one anyway, because these people say, "Well done, that financial year 2025 NDAA. Good wording. Because some people are claiming a victory for this and saying that a lot of that language has gone away." And then some people have correctly noted that if no agency does anything to prove that DJI and Autel aren't spying, it will automatically, in 1 year's time, go on the banned list. So if everyone sits on their hands now for a year, which guess what, agencies are really, really good at doing, especially when they're changing the chairs around with or new sorts of people becoming the heads of their department, they might not do anything. Year, and we think this year might actually end in December. So, yeah, if they don't do anything, the ban is automatic. What do we say to that?
Wow.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
No, nobody got an opinion.
Well, I'm sure that federal agencies will wade in on behalf of DJI.
I think, but by then, with what's going on at the minute, all Johns will be banned anyway, so it won't matter.
Yeah.
Well,
for sure this is going to happen now. I think that this is now the final nail in the coffin. There is the only thing that they can do is that they need to now produce numbers of how much money that the drone industry is bringing in, and how much that's going to affect utilities and telecom. But, because all these sectors, like, I know there's not a large amount of wind turbines in the US because I've done my research. I mean, they do have them, but it's not like a huge amount as you would expect. But still, they are using drones, and they're using drones for power line inspections and telecom and all the rest of it, blah, blah, blah. How much money are they saving by using drones, and how much money are they going to have to invest going back into manned aviation to do certain work? And I think that when they have to spend more money, and if that money has to get passed over to the consumer eventually at some point, I'm sure they're not going to be very happy. But right now they're at a point where, that they are saving money, but there's not an ounce of common sense in order to say, look, this is how it is, and we need to, keep it this way. But I would like to see. I would like to see the numbers. I don't have the numbers, but I would like to see the numbers. How much money that they have been saving over the years by using unmanned.
But the US government's going to have a lot of money in the bank soon because of all these tariffs. They go straight into the coffers. They will have money to throw around everywhere because you're 100% on EVs from China and extra money from Canada and Mexico. The government will be awash with money, so they'll just hand out subsidies to compensate.
I'm sure, but that's only a quick fix. That's all they need, because the next government can fix up. True. I know. Yes. Yeah, exactly. But
the interesting thing with this is the just jump in and I'll jump out, is that it's the scope of the evaluation extends beyond DJI and Autel themselves to include their subsidiaries, affiliates, and partners, entities involved in joint ventures with them, and entities with technology sharing or licensing agreements with them. And I put in the brackets ANZU there.
And ANZU,
it is ANZU.
Well, it is ANZU. So it's pretty comprehensive. This, if they run, if this goes
anyone
through,
that ever said DJI.
But ANZU have got a backup plan.
Exactly.
ANZU,
what now?
ANZU
they're in England.
Yeah, and also Europe.
Yeah. That is the backup plan. But but Europe is well, some people are half thinking about this as well, half thinking about joining. Not another crying for DJI video. Yes, Louis. Yes, I'm about to get everybody to write to whoever they can, and all those other things that they're saying. But you definitely, if you're in America, as I did it on LinkedIn, if you're a service provider in America, you have to at least got to be thinking about NDAA compliant drones. You can't not be thinking about them now. If you ignore them, then you're foolish. So in a year's time, everything's good. DJI can still, an Autel can still operate. Hey, Kushti, jobs are good. But if in a year's time you've just moaned for a year, then your business is going to be in trouble. There's going to be two sorts of operators there: those that think about it and those that don't. And this,
but where else do you go?
Well, you can go to Soten for that, some Mavic sizing. The trouble is, there's choices, but my word, they're expensive. That's the snag.
Okay.
They're expensive. So because there were already, Louis saying there were already customers that specifically required no DJI. Yeah, I know, and the word of this will already get out to big businesses. That they don't really want them there, perhaps. But I think it's very crafty. And the other thing that I'll mention on the wording of that bill was they said if they can choose to keep the findings secret if they want. So if they do that, they can find, great, no, they're fine, but they could still say, nah, but we're not going to have them, but we'll keep that secret. And then we can open the glass on that in 80 years' time, or whatever the restrictions are on that.
And that
look out! He's here now. We're in trouble now. We've invoked Louis. Oh, look! I put shiny heads with glasses all along the bottom there, and that's rude, isn't it?
Oh, the glare.
The glare, exactly. Yeah, it's just like they're lighting my chin under this. My beard's not grey. It's the light. Louis, how are you, me old fruit and nut?
Oh, how are you guys? I had to come in and put some order in all of this because everybody's crying, oh, my DJI won't be able to fly. Come on. We've been talking about this for 2 years?
Almost as long as
everybody knew. So the thing is, this was expected. It's not a surprise. So get on with it. There are alternatives in the market. You just have this will put away some of the amateur pilots that would go out and take business from large companies. Large companies will have the money to will have to invest in non-DJI stuff, and pilots that are really serious about their work will also be able to change to a suitable drone. And there are already drones in the market. Even for the inspection of the wind turbines, that is not a problem.
But we know that there are plenty of drones out there that can do these jobs. However, many of us are actually bound by our own clients who have certain requirements on certain software, and those software. So the software companies, will come to us and say, okay, we need you to go and do this. We need you to this. You have to have this drone. You have to have this payload. And
you're speaking about one specific service provider.
Well, I'm speaking about many service providers.
You can say the name.
No, I'm not going to say names. I'm not going to say. I don't want to get anyone into. I don't want to embarrass anyone. But there are plenty out there. But of course, it is up. So I think that if this DJI ban, which of course it looks like it will, if that does come in, many of these companies will then be forced to make those kind of changes, and
some
that,
of them
course,
had already the support for non-DJI drones.
Mm.
If that's the one that we are thinking about, they already had support for non-DJI drones. So that I don't see it a problem. I see some of the non-professional users will be out of the market.
Yeah, I think if you're a small mom and pop Part 107.
At this point, mentioning DJ, I think you need to put the tweet on that's in the private chat, because Brendan doesn't often post comedy posts. Being the lawyer in it.
Was it the airplane?
He's generally quite reserved on Twitter, but here we go. This was a piece of class. I enjoyed this.
Yes. Well, and no doubt, there are a handful of people going out to deliberately fly that sort of thing out there now.
Yeah.
And cause even more chaos.
Hobby King used to sell it as a ready-to-fly model. I don't know if that's the one specifically, but they had one.
Yeah,
like
absolutely. Oh, and I think the sun's gone down in that part of America now. I said, the lights are flashing again. Is it dark?
No one would ever do that. Nobody would ever do that.
Yeah, there was no sun today, and
so but the sightings must surely start now.
Well, and
it's after dark.
It's foggy out. I can't even go look. It's all foggy.
Is it foggy?
Yeah, it's all bad.
That's the other thing, without taking it back to it. You know, all of this. So we've got ADSB, we've got radio traffic for police, fire, rescue, and we've got weather forecasts. So we could just crunch all this other data together to give a likelihood score on all this. But yeah.
Yep.
Anyway,
I can't believe.
Anyway,
Louis said Sony.
Sony! No, Sony dropped that a couple of weeks ago. Mad. That's
was it the earpiece?
Keep up. Yeah, that they dropped that a couple of weeks ago, and they didn't make it. They sort of made it public, but not very public. You had to know where to go and look for that one. But yeah, that went. He said that he's changed back to Mad's Tech. Before he was. Oh, he's changed. He was Mad's Tech's tips and tutorials before. He's changed. What's going on? Has he been hijacked, you think?
I think
probably got 2 YouTube accounts.
And for a question that is coming about Europe, I think we have to start thinking that in a short time we'll have the same coming to Europe.
Yeah. I've heard lots of people saying that from different places in Europe. So it's
they won't be able to use the drones in Ukraine.
The ones in Ukraine, they'll stop them flying. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
Yeah, definitely.
Wait, say that again.
No, we're joking.
Oh, okay.
You're new here.
Sorry, it's how
I'd say you're going to watch it with Bruce. He'll deliver something deadpan and sarcastic. So you think he's being serious, but he's not. But the trouble is, he does this on Twitter when journalists are reading, and he doesn't realise that they don't understand the difference.
I'm always serious. Every take, always serious. No jokes here.
Always, absolutely. Now, at least one of us here has got the new, looks at his notes to remember what it's called, Radio Master GX12, including Ian Mad, who's going to put his review up, or has put his review up. And everyone's gone nuts for this radio. Why?
This is the best radio I've reviewed all day.
There you go. Since the last one. But why is everyone going quite so mal for it? Just because we haven't
the affiliate link on this one is brilliant.
There we go. There we go.
And it's got sticks. And look,
they fold.
It's got 2 aerials, twice as better.
But that folding sticks thing, when I saw it on Ian's video, I thought, well, what happens if that happens in flight when I'm at a critical moment? Hang on. We've managed to get him to come out. Now, here we are. Now, a quarter of the people in this stream has this new radio.
Who remembers My Favorite Martian on TV? That was great.
There we are. You're right on topic. Yeah. So come on, Ian. Why are you loving this radio so much?
I don't know what you're talking about, Gar. I don't like it. It's horrible. Sorry, I can't believe that. I've been
Mine's
out.
got a spring on the throttle though. They're stuffed up.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah, that's the wrong way around for you. No, I think there's nothing magical here, but it's probably the combination of 2 years of radios where there's always been like something you sort of think, I wish they'd have done that differently, or I wish they'd have done that differently. And genuinely, and I don't know how Bruce feels, I haven't had a chance to see anything else. I think overall it ticks the most boxes of all of the handsets I've seen. And from ignore Wing perspective, because Wing users will always grump about something. It's still not really designed for Wing users. It's got enough pots, but they want more switches and things.
It's got
But
good
from an
detents on all the pots.
Yeah, nice, really good ones, Bruce, as well, aren't they? They're really strong.
But they sent me the Northern Hemisphere one, which is kind of annoying because the screen's at the bottom.
It's upside down, yeah.
Yeah.
But I just think it genuinely, I don't know where you go after this, because the big one is it's got the dual module in now. So the big change in Expressor S in the last couple of years is the new LR chipset, which does dual band. So now you don't have to have modules. It'll do both low band and high band, 2.4 and 900 or 868, depending on where you are. And they've just pretty much nailed it. It's just, and for the money, that there really isn't anything better out there. And I'll be honest, I don't really think anything will now, because I don't know what you can do after this. It's
interesting, isn't it? Because how do you get people to buy a new radio? Because your receivers and that's okay, because every time you use your drone with the shape charge, that's the end of that receiver. But new transmitters, there's not as much of a demand for them. You can use them again. And so I've been wondering, what are they doing? Because they keep bringing out minor changes and things.
More LEDs.
More LEDs.
More LEDs, yeah. Actually, it's got an OLED display now. I wish it had kept LCD, because I can't see. I don't fly at night, so there's no point in having an LCD. Is far, even in bright sunlight, LCD is far better than an OLED. OLED's just, I don't know why they've gone to OLED. It seems to be, but at least it's not color.
Yes, yeah, Bruce, and I actually approve of the choice. Do you know what I mean? That not to have a color touchscreen, it would have been pointless on this radio. Yeah. So, and I just think that it was a bit of a surprise. I didn't get mine till late last week. I didn't get a lot of time on this one at all. Bruce, you might have been.
One arrived yesterday at 5 o'clock.
Oh, well, yeah.
DHL took 2 days to get it from Hong Kong to Auckland, and then 6 days to get the 200 kilometers from Auckland to my house. DHL, a train wreck. But doesn't it look like a Zorro on steroids? Really?
Yes. And it's like the Zorro filled out. So I think from an FPV perspective, I don't really see the point of recommending another radio. I mean, I'll be honest, I almost said in the video, this will be the last radio I review, because I don't really know what you do after this now. That's it. It's game over. And yeah, so, but yeah, it's a nice bit of kit. It's fairly cheap. If you compare it to Free Sky, it's definitely cheap. And they're making some nice radios, I have to admit. I've got to play with some of the recent Free Sky stuff. And to be fair, the X18, the X20, they are really nice radios, but they're not.
The Futaba of the modern age.
Yeah. And they are up their
the modern age.
they have definitely upped their quality. And Ethos is really nice.
The thing that really disappointed me with this.
Oh, go on. Yeah.
No AI. It hasn't got any AI in it.
There's no nonsense.
No, it has. It has. I can see there's one after the R, there's an A after the R, and there's an I after the D. There's your AI. Yeah. It's got it in Radio Master. Yep. So does it have Bluetooth for head tracking?
No, because it's more of an FPV radio. Yeah.
And then do you think Radio Master are pulling a sort of iPhone iteration trick?
No, because to being honest, the module is new. That only hit the market 3-4 months ago, because the chipset is new. So that has to be new. The bits they've improved upon are things people complained about. So, like, if you take the 6 buttons along the bottom, if anyone's used the Boxer, they're basically flat to the surface. So if you're wearing goggles, you can't feel them. They've resolved that in this. There is a new set of gimbals. They've got folding sticks, which, okay, you could argue they borrowed that from TBS because they're basically identical, aren't they, Bruce, as the TBS folding sticks. I think there's far more parts of the drone industry that play that game. DJI play that game to the max. I heard some stuff this week which I thought was quite interesting. DJI are planning 12 months out. They've already planned up until the end of next year. They already know what they're doing, and I don't think Radio Master are so much. I suspect what you'll now see is all of their other radios migrate over to the new modules. Some upgrade. If you take the TX16, a massively popular radio, way too big. I don't quite understand the love for the TX16. It's huge radio. It really is. Isn't it, Bruce? It's
yeah. With a color screen, you can't read direct sunlight.
No, and it's. But something I was going to say. Can I say something on the DJI thing, Gary?
Yeah. All right then.
The only problem we're going to have, and I agree. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
I do agree. I think if this is it, inevitably, and I think they will absolutely do what you said, Gar, which is nothing. They will do nothing, so they can't get blamed, and it will then it won't be an agency that get blamed. It'll go through. I do think it'll hit the industry dramatically hard, and there is no credible alternative. And regardless of all of the DIY gear, the truth is, everything else is a fragmented mess that doesn't always play well together. There are options, as Louis was saying earlier, for Sony cameras. You can use a Gremsy gimbal, and you can pair that to an Ardra Pilot build, and you can build something, and people will start. But there's a huge difference between what we have today, and ignore even the toy stuff. Like Louis rightly says, a lot of the people being involved in the industry who've been able to do it with Mavics for a couple of, $2,000, they were able to go out there and do stuff. The problem will be reliability, and the problem will be integrating that stuff into your workflow. And what has, as Flybase was saying earlier, everyone has built their industry around integrating DJI data, because it's all about data. At the end of the day, we call it imagery, but it's data. They can change that, but just take RTK, PPK. You can do those things, but they're not that easy to do outside of DJI. And that's where the industry will struggle. And there isn't, if you take Parrot, you've got Skydio. They're the only two really who are making anything that is off the shelf, and no one's got like an M300 equivalent.
If we're talking industry here, okay, and we're not talking about someone who just goes and does one flight a day.
Yeah,
we're doing 10 flights, 12 flights a day. You need to be efficient. You need to be, you have to, you need to have reliability. You need to pull your drone out, have your process, have your drone up, have it down, have everything else to charge, and then at the same time do the same thing, 30 minutes later, and then obviously continue until the sun goes down.
Just think about battery management. Yes, and just think about battery management. One thing, you're going back to the S900 days of battery management. The people with the S8s, the S9s, with massive lipos, where you're back to all of the complexity around that. There's so much that will change as a result of it.
But here's the kicker, though, because we always talk, and we're always talking about multi-rotors. We shouldn't forget aircraft for surveying, like the Wingtra. The Wingtra, brilliant aircraft. If someone said to me, go mapping and surveying, you'd choose the Wingtra over a DJI all day, because it'll do the distance and it'll do the time, and it'll be as quick, if not quicker, and still get great data. It's all about
yes, it will. But it eliminates a great number of people that are actually only able to go clink, and that's the.
Well, is it the Wingtra now? You can just draw the map and you literally just push a
Yeah,
button.
you've got to have. I've
be a bit
had to
more-
go one of those. You've got to have half an eye of where the wind's going, and you've got to have
That is
half a
something that-
thought
that
to
is
trees.
something- That
Well-
is something that we've been discussing at Ardo Pilot, is how to come up with a system that is any integrator can pick up the system. It's already flight tested. It's already ready, and we found two points that need our attention right now. One is battery management, and the second is user interface, because with all the advantages of Mission Planner, it's a monster. So, and Q ground control could be that interface, but it's also not under direct control. So, the thing is, we are looking at that not because of DJI, but we need to have a reference system that flies well, integrates well with gimbals and cameras, and must have, that we don't have at the moment, a good BMS for batteries. The user interface, it's something different, and we are already looking at that. We've been discussing that internally. What we would, because at the moment we already have collision avoidance, we have LiDAR support, we have camera and gimbal support. So everything is in place for such a system. And one of the requisites, and I added that requisite to the system, is weight under 900 grams. That will make it able to fly under the most common piloting laws that we have.
C1.
There's also a big, and the other big gap, Louis, is live feed. You know, there are options.
No, but that is already taken care of.
It is and it isn't. It's taken care of. You got Hearlink, which is one solution.
No, but we have to do. It's an elephant that we have to start slicing.
Yes,
and the first slice is BMS.
Yeah, it has to be. Yeah. And it's weird how BMS hasn't. You know, it's weird actually that we're so far into this industry. You know, even this side, Louis, with the DIY and the open source, that BMS seems to have fallen through the cracks, hasn't it? It's one of those things that just no one really wanted to tackle.
So let's hope that we manage to get a Hardo battery sometime in the future. But
battery on. No.
Ardu Power.
Ardu Power, yeah.
Ardu Power copter, Ardu Power sub, Ardu Power boat. It's got to have all the versions for the different types of.
Don't forget Ardu Power blimp.
Blimp, yeah.
Yes. I can't see Ian. I can't see that for you. Ian's getting ready for his 1 hour chat. But I can't see that one, Ian. So you better unlock that one before we
I'm going to
start down that road. But I think so we go down to that point that RG Pilot has all these things integrated and working nicely. The next problem that is an easier problem for DJI to make go away is that authorities are going to require decent certification for these machines before they can be used commercially, and small operators won't be able to afford to do that certification. I can see that being a problem coming soon.
The goal is to have a system that is tested and flies well and allows anyone, any integrator, any manufacturer to pick up that reference design and go out with it. Basically, let's roll back a few years. Think of it as a DJI as a solo V2.
Solar
And-
V2. That'll make a lot of people happy. Still not
Yeah.
working, Ian.
I can see potentially happening because DJI could play an absolute blinder here, and they could, and if they really wanted to solve this, they could make a US only model, some of their big ones, and open the software up a little bit because they've already opened it up to Anzu, and actually then charge 3 times as much and make 3 times the amount of money and be compliant. And it would basically cost them very little. So I don't think it's over. I think it's heading to happen, but they could.
Ian, can you do you really see DJI actually opening up their software? Because this is the main problem, is that they are not open source. That's why many of the agencies, especially in Europe, like let's have the military, they will not use DJI because the software is not open.
Well, is it open source though, or is it they don't know what's going on? Because there's a fundamental difference between the two. See, DJI don't have to open source it; they only have to prove that there's no security issues.
No, they want open source. So I've been told that they want open source.
That is the same problem that Microsoft had a few years ago with Windows in Europe. And what Microsoft did was open the source to the government and military. And the government and military do have access to the source code of Windows. And if DJI would be able to do that, I don't believe, because end of the day, they might find things that were not supposed to be there. According to one of our most vocal friends on LinkedIn,
Kevin who?
Yeah, Kevin, someone.
Yeah, but they also don't have to open up the past stuff. They only have to open up the new stuff, what they want certified. So it's all a game now. See, it's all a game of how you play this. Use a new drone with all new software. Yeah. There you go. So it's, I don't think it's quite over. It's going to be very interesting.
No, they will feel the pressure the moment they in Europe, and I believe UK will be the first one to go after that, with the bans on DJI in Europe. And the moment it starts in Europe, it will be a mess. And then DJI will have to run.
Well, there's a lot of the rest of the world, India, China, us, Brazil, Russia,
Vatican City.
Vatican City, exactly. Monaco.
I think one of the reasons they'll probably never open source the software is if they did, you'd see how much it's stolen off autopilot.
How much is exactly.
I'm not sure. There's a lot of guys who've hacked a lot of their software that I talk to regularly, and there's the odd indiscretion here and there with some open source stuff, mostly API calls type stuff, BuzzyBox and other stuff. But fundamentally, DJI's code is DJI's code. There's not, I think the rumors of it being Ardra and stuff, whether there was that back in the early days, but today they're so far down the line from that now. There's nothing, I think, even, most of their drones are running Linux now anyway. It's all on Linux.
That's what it was back in the day.
Yeah.
It was that. Yeah. It was that controller, and it was that. That's what it was.
I think it's going to be interesting to see what they do. They might not care. They are heavily moving out of the drone market, because the truth is that they're pushing big style into the power stations. They're pushing big style into. I believe they've really caused a bit of a stir with GoPro. The action camera, they are basically de facto number one in the action camera market now.
Are they?
They've stolen the top spot from GoPro.
Robot vacuum cleaners as well.
Yeah,
GoPro robot vacuum cleaner.
They've got a robot vacuum cleaner. They've got all sorts, and I do wonder if they're just. That's it. You want to do that? You crack on. But we've got all these other products.
Yeah, true. They're not going to particularly, and you know, I think America's perhaps overestimates how important a market they are to DJI. They're not as important as think, and that thereby lies the truth of why American businesses struggle to succeed against them as well, because American businesses have a problem with ITAR, getting the stuff out of anywhere but America. And when you can only serve America, the market perhaps isn't big enough. DJI's got the rest of the world to have a go at the minute. And as you say, in all sorts of other things.
And that most of their drone consumption is probably going into the war theatre anyway.
Oh, absolutely. It must be. I shudder to think how many units of stuff are going over there. And look how they're going to what's that? The delivery one. I've forgotten. Not the Agris as well. Yeah. Flycart. The Flycart 100 out there now. 95 kilos. 95 kilos it lifts.
That's a lot of Syntex.
I was going to say, Bruce, the same thing. That's a lot of it.
Did you not see the one in, was it in Brazil that they no, it was the Agris that they put on the roof of a building and then blew it up. Somebody's factory.
Did they lower it onto the roof and then blow it up?
No, they landed it. They landed it. They landed the Agris on the roof and then blew it up. And people were running around going, whoa, whoa, you know, boom. Or it was a prison or something. It was last week. It was last week.
The good thing with the Flycart is you can drop the load. You can even use the hook to lower it down, keep the drone, fly it away, and then...
Look, the Flycart's one of their better products. It's just we won't see it in the West.
No, it's in the West. It's in the West now.
It's in. You just fly it in. If you want to fly it in Europe, you just fly it in A3. But
you can't fly it here in the A3.
Not big enough for Amazon to deliver tube socks.
Over 25 kilos. So
it's over 25 kilos. Oh, wow. It has to be specific.
No, you can fly it in A3 away from nowhere. It doesn't have to be specific, but there's no use for it in that. So you can't do any deliveries. So I mean, you can't. You can literally fly it, but that's all you can do.
I thought there was a 25 kilo weight limit. There's a 25 kilo in the A3 open cat. Isn't there a weight limit, 25 kilos cut off?
25 kilos. Above that, it has to be a certified aircraft. It would be the same.
Yeah.
What if you put prop guards on it?
Yeah, I know of a few who actually have one of the fly carts here, and I know they're flying it, but I know that they don't have SORA approval. I know they don't have it, so but maybe they're flying it in certain places that they're allowed to, but I don't know.
And here we are. It's that time, ladies and gentlemen. It's that time to give Ian. So sit back, relax, and I'm afraid for our new guest, good luck, hold tight. This is your first time at this part of the event where Ian starts talking about his freedom of information request. And this one is very, 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 let's see if I can zoom in. I can never get this to zoom properly. Very, very on message. Do you want to take it away, Mr. Hudson?
Yeah, in the middle at the top there, you've got your zoom, but where it says 100%. Yeah. So this will interest people, well, especially with what's going on in the United States now. A lot of people keep going on about the United States Air Force here in the bases and making out that they're still seeing these craft or drones or whatever. Well, frankly, they haven't put anything out since the RAF turned up. So that in itself...
Can I say that would happen?
However, to add to that, this is the first freedom of information back where a request has been made to ask if anyone has logged, any pilot, so this can be civilian, military, can include ATC, have logged any air proxies, so they've seen a drone or UAP, would normally be ticked as drone, close enough to them where they would consider a potential collision, and nobody has, which is quite interesting because one of the first encounters had National Police Air Service helicopter nearby, and they're pretty good for doing the air prox reports. So this is the first piece of evidence that says it might, and I will stress might, be a mistake. So an air prox, this kind of freedom of information about an air prox, because it relies on the pilot to make that decision, you can only read so much into it. But obviously, if there were a load of air proxies there and there were clear descriptions and blah, 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 it would reinforce the fact that there was something there where this does the opposite. So we will see what else comes out as bits of the jigsaw, but it's good to have sort of the first response back and push back a bit, really, because there's lots of people in the US telling other people in the US what's going on over here with no idea at all what's going on over here.
This is interesting.
Yeah.
The FAA comes out quarterly with drone incursion something, where quarterly you'll get reports of every aircraft that had a close call or they saw something. Unfortunately, you can't get it monthly, so I would love to see what last
Well, we
month and
can
this month look
quite and one of the horrible things about your freedom of information requests over there is they demand, well, you have to pay to make them happen unless you're a journalist, and we have been able to get away with that in the past. I don't think the FAA will let us get away with that anymore. But what I will say about American freedom of information requests is they can take years to answer them. Years. We don't have the same one day guy over news desk, maybe even a weather girl. yeah, well, okay, yeah, we can do that. It's not a bad idea. Yeah, that's quite a thing. The New Jersey Congressman Chris Smith, one of his officers, 50 drones.
Yeah, you put that in the chat.
Yeah, 50 drones come out of the ocean.
So you read it now. According to the police, drones could come out of the ocean.
You can tell when a politician's lying, his mouth is moving.
But that's just the damage it's going to do to the nation
vote for these people?
drone industry around the world.
Was he doing coke earlier in the day?
Cocoa, it is winter. You can drink cocoa in the winter. You know, it's a lovely water.
A nice Horlicks.
Horlicks, yeah, exactly.
He's definitely doing something.
But it's to me the most important thing or a good outcome I'd like for this is a documenting of how this. It's like Henny Penny or Chicken Licken, depending on which country. You know, when the sky's falling in because an acorn falls on his head. It's how this all unfolds, and to watch the narrative. You know, that university students could study this hysteria. It would be grand, and we could change the narrative just by making a few RC witches on brooms or flying lawnmowers or all the other things that aero modelers have been making for years and years and years for japes.
It shows how malleable the public is,
for Mark's benefit, and say that counter drone idea is being consistently proved as being exceptionally brilliant. I mean, China and Russia now will be looking at the US and they will be laughing. They will realize that you can cause panic to an entire region by just getting one person to go get a camera phone, get some crap footage, post it online, get a bot to do it, say there's something going on, and before you know it, you're getting airspace closed down.
Yeah, we've got a brilliant one, haven't we, Ian? We've got an absolutely brilliant one. We could shut down. We could make this lot look like, you know, we would freak them out.
No, it's just.
This is why I took that video down I sent you on Twitter, because I was afraid someone was going to steal it when I was screwing around with my drone at night, and then I deleted it because I didn't know if someone was going to steal it.
Oh, they would do, yeah. They'd say, "I've seen this."
Yeah, and then put it out there as, you know, another one now in the Poconos.
I wonder how much of this is gonna disappear into it's December, everyone's going on holiday, it's Christmas. I wonder, or if this is gonna stick in memories. I wonder if this is gonna alter enough minds. I mean, I can't remember now because it was just about an hour ago. Watching that Congress thing, I think they said they'd had something like 650,000 detections of our pads, and they said they stay out stay out of American airspace. They stay on the other side of the border. And then the guy says to him, and then he goes on about how we can make them land, we can direct them to land. And the bloke said, how many have you made land? And he said, like 45 or something. So it's going to be, I'm going to have to sit down and watch that. Or if I'll get AI to write that out for me.
Cartels?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was something huge numbers they were talking
What's the
about.
phase of the moon right now? I'm thinking when it gets to full moon, we'll have
waxing, I
reports
think,
from
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's because they hide behind it, don't they? That's where they're all hiding now. Yeah.
And as for waxing, no, that's too painful.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we're definitely going into to nonsense. You've flown ball witch. Yeah, exactly. 33 eyes. Exactly.
Are you sure?
And
Are you sure there wasn't like a massive batch of contaminated turkeys over Thanksgiving? You know, and
hallucinogenic effective bird flu.
Yeah, it's
just
throwing it. Look,
I know what it is.
Well, we've lodged kind of in.
I bet you they've all been vexed.
There you go. But you know, we've lodged our displeasure with this one. We lodged our displeasure at Gatwick 1.
I have a video
we
coming.
Lodged our displeasure at Gatwick 2 at the time. And now we've got this one on record as well. So we'll be able to tut and nod and point back to this video in 5 years' time when a whole raft of legislation has been written all around the world. And they say, but what about the New Jersey drones? What about them? Hey, what about them? What were we going to do about that? That's going to happen all around the
It
world.
was never fully explained.
Never.
You know, why don't we just mandate? What we need to do is somehow mandate all manned aviation has EC. Electronic on speak.
Oh,
yeah, AS.
Oh, don't.
Where's the arrow?
Or whatever. I don't care. Right? Maybe if we do that, then you know that would help show these people what's really in the sky. Because if they all turned on their transponders and weren't allowed to turn them off whenever they feel like it, like some celebrities do, because they don't want people to know what airport they're going in and out of in their private jets, you know, maybe if they just left everything switched on and then it was mandated.
And did we talk about this last week? I don't want to talk about it, or we don't want to go, but did we mention the UAVionics mention in the potential rules and the fact that the chap went, and I'm going to say it again.
I'm not sure he did mention it last week, actually.
He left the Civil Aviation Authorities in the UK, Hound, left the UK Civil Aviation Authority, worked for UAVionics for 1 year, rejoined the UK CAA, and guess what? In the latest bit of legislation or proposed legislation, there just happens to be a bit of kit that basically only UAVionics sell. Now, that is so dodgy. I have sought legal advice on this one, actually. You know who you are, legal advice person. And he thinks it's dodgy and things to answer.
Are you suggesting that the CAA has done something rather naughty?
I'm suggesting that with no names, no patrol, somebody might have done. But I would like to see it explained. And there are grown-up lawyerly words for this sort of thing that I don't know how to use. But we know somebody who does, and he's going to ask those questions. It's just not cricket, is it? You can't go and work for a company for a year and then sell their and then get their products mandated in the UK airspace.
Gary, for everyone, including me, because I've not paid a great deal of attention to this bit, because obviously there's been so much going on. I've only got so much bandwidth in my head. So is this a ADSB thing, and is it being onto drones, or is it some other product?
Yes. So if you're going to operate BVLOS in the UK, and I can't remember what these changes are called, Mark might be able to remember. It's not just 1090 ADSB; it's 978 as well. And 978 is used to send to aircraft. It sends them weather data, NOTAMs, updates, and all that sort of thing. So point number A, it's sending data that's useless to a drone operator day to day that they wouldn't need. And point number B, the primary people that make the 1099-78 gear is UAVionics. So it just wasn't cool. It just wasn't cool, and we noticed these things here.
There's also a freedom of information request in on all the quangos and all the groups that lobby the CAA RPAS sector.
There's things that can't be said, isn't there, Ian? But there's things that can't be said. But this year this coming year, I think it's going to reveal quite a few things.
I do think on the topic of freedom of information, Mark, I don't understand how the CAA had marked I really just genuinely don't understand how they put your freedom of information as vexatious, because you're simply just asking a straightforward question, and there's no. If they said, we think it's going to take too much time, or there's this, or there's that, or I just don't understand, because there's no explanation to it, is there, that I could say? I would start off going back on that one and for an internal review and saying, this is a genuine question. It's not vexatious. Is there something about it that you want me to elaborate on to help you answer it? Maybe.
Here's the question. Here's the answer. Right. If you throw that back at me, right, and that's the answer they've given, we already know that they don't want that coming out. Right, that's it in a nutshell to me. I'm not normally into conspiracy theories, but I've become more of a skeptic thanks to Ian. So I'm just going to go, right, okay. So in 2025, something is going to change. Quite clearly, they have a plan to change PDRA 01.
I would still go back on that, Mark, because it's part of the normal process, and obviously it's something that we could take on to further steps. So what I would do first, just in case, give the benefit of the doubt it's been misunderstood or something, or if there's any way that you could have a think yourself, is there anything you could do to elaborate on the wording that makes, because they haven't explained why, so maybe ask why. Say you're thinking it's going to be too much time, what is the reason that you think there's an issue here, and then it gives you an opportunity to go back and go, fair enough, in that case, you can maybe get an opportunity to reword it, and everybody's happy. So just try that first and see what comes of it.
Okay, I'll hit reply then.
There you go. Right, and on that note, I will say goodbye. And I am going to let one tiny cat out the bag. Somebody will be apologising to Parliament next year because of Ian. But anyway,
whoa,
that's as much as I'm. But anyway, on that note, dear viewer, wherever you are in the world, look after yourselves. We'll see you next week, 2100 Gin and Tonic, when the UFOs will have moved off somewhere else, no doubt. Be careful out there, everyone. They're watching you. Cheers now. Bye-bye.
They're jealous and coming